The most common excuses I hear why leaders don't develop other leaders is they don't know how. And hey, I understand that excuse because, to be honest, most people have never really had anybody develop them as a leader. And how can you replicate something when you've never seen it modeled? Well, be encouraged because there's a system to everything in life. And so all we have to do is figure out a system for developing leaders. Well, stay tuned because today I'm going to give you 7 tips for getting started as a new leader developer. Hey guys, this is Mac Lake bringing you tips, tools, and techniques helping you develop more and better leaders. You know, many leaders are not developing others because they've never had anyone develop them, so they just don't know how to develop other leaders. I remember my early days when I first started doing leadership development. To be honest with you, it was a disaster. I didn't know what I was doing. I was intimidated. I was nervous. I'm probably embarrassed myself. In fact, I probably need to go back and to some of those people in the early days and give them an apology because I didn't know what I was doing. But let me tell you this. You have to be bad before you can be good. I know that doesn't sound very encouraging, but you have to be bad before you can be good. And you have to be good before you can be great. And if you really stick with it, you can grow into a great leadership developer. But you just have to get started. So let me give you 7 tips that are going to help you get started in developing others. Tip number 1 is get started today. You know, it's so easy to think, well, I don't know how, and I better wait until I learn how to do this. But if you do that, you're never going to get started. I want you to look around you and just think of 1 or 2 people that you could start pouring into. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to write down their names. I want you to pray for them. Pray for the potential opportunity in developing them, and then write down a date that you'd like to get started, write out some details of what you'd like to train them in, and write out a schedule of how often you'd like to meet with them. All right? Writing down those details is going to give you a bias to action and make you more likely to get started. Tip number 2, choose someone that you would really enjoy spending time with. Select people that you believe in. Select people that you enjoy connecting with. That's going to make it so much easier because you got that relational connection with them, and it's going to reduce some of your nerves and anxiety about doing leadership development. Tip number 3 is be honest with them. Just tell them, hey, I've never done this before. I'm not exactly sure how to develop leaders, and thank you for doing this with me. And I'm excited about learning. But just be honest with them and let them know that they're a guinea pig and that you're going to learn on them. And you know what? They're going to be understanding of that. So often we struggle at becoming good at development because our primary focus is on impressing them rather than impacting them. And when you're more concerned with impressing them, then your focus is on you. But when I'm concerned about impacting them, then I'm able to focus on them. So just be honest with them. Don't try to impress them. Just be honest with them. It's going to make it so much easier. Tip number 4, let them know that this is a co-learning relationship. This isn't just me mentoring you, but it's a co-learning relationship. Every time, even to this day, I enter into a mentoring relationship, I let them know that, hey, I want to learn just as much from this relationship as you do. And when you describe it as a co-learning relationship, not an expert to novice type of relationship, that takes so much pressure off of you and you're going to feel so much better. Tip number 5, lead with asking, not with telling. When people first start doing leadership development, they tend to think their role is to talk and to teach everything they know. And the big mistake new developers make is focusing on talking rather than focusing on transformation. So we have to lead with asking, not with telling. You're going to have so much bigger impact by asking questions, not just telling them everything you know. But the temptation is to talk a lot. Now, to be honest with you, they should be talking about 60% of the time. You should be talking 40% of the time. That means you have to learn to ask good questions. And it doesn't have to be that hard. Asking questions like, hey, what stood out to you? What do you think? How would you approach this? Who do you know that does this well? What can you learn from that person? You know, questions like this get people to think on their own and discover principles on their own. And it takes the pressure off of you feeling like you have to have all the answers. Tip number 6, learn something new every time you train. Every time I meet with somebody, I walk away and I ask myself the question, what's one thing I can learn about that development experience that I can apply next time so I can keep getting better? You know, I've been training and mentoring church planters for years, and just the other day, I did a coaching session with 3 church planters, and afterwards, I asked that debrief question, and I had a huge aha moment that's just going to continue to make me a better trainer. And here's the other thing I would say too. Read some good books on mentoring. I recommend Iron Sharpens Iron by Howard Hendricks. That's a great book. Another great book is Managers as Mentors by Chip Bell. I like this book because it actually has mentoring scripts written out, not for you to follow, but it shows somebody mentoring somebody, and as you read through there, it becomes a really good model for you. So both of those books are great books, and they're going to help give you a template and a process for developing and mentoring others. And tip number 7 is ask somebody to mentor you. You know, if you're uncomfortable with leadership development, just simply go find somebody and ask them and say, hey, would you do some development with me? Would you mentor me? And by doing so, you're going to see how they develop you, and you can just take what they did with you and replicate that with others. Guys, here's the thing. You got to get started today. The longer you wait, the longer it's going to take for you to become great at developing leaders. Now, to dive deeper into this topic, click right here, and there's more resources that will help you learn how to become a great leadership developer. Hey, make sure you subscribe to this channel, and I will see you next Tuesday.